is Valley News Live at 4.
Good afternoon, everyone. We begin with breaking news. Fargo police just released the name of the person behind the shooting in downtown Fargo on Saturday. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley joins us live from outside the police department with the latest. Bailey.
Stacy, Chief Cebulski named that suspect as 43-year-old Brandon Grant. This is his photo of him, Brandon Roosevelt Grant. That's who they say is responsible for Saturday night's shooting at the Bismarck. They say he unloaded a gun. As for the motive, police aren't really saying much. We have heard from several witnesses as well as bartenders who tell us that the reason this unfolded was because Grant was cut off by a bartender from drinking. Some sort of verbal altercation ensued, then a physical, and then, as one bartender says, dozens of shots started ringing out. Now today we also just learned an update on those 3 victims. Police say that all 3 of them are still hospitalized, but the good news is none of their injuries are life-threatening. But Chief Cebulski did say that they did suffer serious injuries and will be there for some amount of time. He didn't really specify that. There are still a lot of questions. Police say that Brandon Grant should be considered armed and dangerous. If you see him, they want you to call the police department as soon as you can. Again, do not approach him. They consider him, again, armed and dangerous. And Stacey, this is a man that we've done stories on before. He is the one that was responsible, at least that's what police said, for a standoff that happened near NDSU in September of 2019. Police did end up finding several handguns and an AR-15 in the home where he lived. We'll have much more for you tonight on Valley News Live at 5, 6, and tonight at 10. For now, live in Fargo, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
All right, Bailey, thanks so much. Now, here's a look at today's top 4 at 4. Court documents show an Otter Tail County Sheriff's deputy was on fentanyl at the time of a fatal crash in Fergus Falls back in October. Deputy Kelly Backman was chasing a suspect with several felony warrants. Police say Cody Freetag blew through a stop sign and hit another car, killing both people inside. A blood test indicated that Deputy Backman had fentanyl in his system at least 3 times the therapeutic dose. Backman has now been charged with misconduct by a police officer and 4th-degree DWI. Fergus Falls police say they found some discrepancies during his work as a narcotics investigator. They found 2 incidents where Backman reported drug paraphernalia on a suspect, but it was never logged as evidence. Officers found similar items, they say, when searching his desk and his locker. A California man is charged with homicide after court documents say he dealt a fatal dose of fentanyl to a man in Jamestown. 32-year-old Jordan McKay of Sacramento is charged with 1 count of negligent homicide for the death of Dylan Workenthine last month. During a search of the victim's room, officers found a bag with 4 M30 pills. Police say these are counterfeit pills disguised as oxycodone, but they're actually fentanyl. Fargo and Jamestown police issued a warning about these pills back in January. McKay told police he sold 7 of them to the victim that afternoon. An arson charge has been filed against a man accused in a fire in late December in Detroit Lakes. The first caused an estimated $1 million in damage to Wald's RV sales on Highway 10 on December 19th. Investigators have charged 42-year-old Daniel Kaufman with 2nd-degree arson and theft after connecting his pickup to the scene. A $30,000 fish house was also stolen from Wald's. Investigators tracked Kaufman's cell phone, which included a conversation where he offered to sell a fish house to a man. In the text thread, he said he didn't have a title but was attempting to get one. If convicted, he faces up to 20 years in prison. 7 men are in jail after a sex trafficking sting in northern Minnesota. The Bureau of Criminal Apprehension says the men connected with undercover investigators on sex advertisement websites. They were arrested in an operation last week and are now being held in the Itasca and Pennington County jails. Many of the charges involve soliciting a person believed to be a minor. Now here's a first look at our weather with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Hutch.
Happy Monday, Stacy. Happy Monday, everyone. Temperatures today simply awesome. And now, well, we're not done with winter yet. Some impactful winter weather is going to work its way through the region. We have declared Tuesday a first alert weather day as a result. There are winter weather advisories posted for the Highway 2 and Highway 200 corridor. Fargo to Jamestown also on board with this, as is much of central Minnesota from Bemidji down through Park Rapids and Wadena. and Detroit Lakes. Look at today, though. That sun came up on fire and it felt magnificent. Look at high temperatures across the valley today. We saw 50-degree readings out in the Central Dakotas, 48 in Jamestown and Gwinner, 40 for Thief River Falls and Baudette, Bemidji, Park Rapids, all in the 40s today. How about Grand Forks at 47 gorgeous degrees? Now, for this evening, we'll have clouds. I can't rule out a sprinkle or drop of rain as temperatures will stay in those mid-30s at bedtime tonight. Some fog is in the forecast overnight. The snow begins tomorrow and will be, Stacy, most impactful for that evening commute and for some the midday commute. We'll have hour-by-hour details on the track, the timing, and amount of snow that we're expecting from this system here in just a couple of moments.
All right, Hutch, thanks so much. A Fargo man arrested during the May 30th riots will serve jail time. The 21-year-old has been sentenced to 4 months in jail, followed by 3 years of supervised release. He was charged with civil disorder. The judge also ordered him to pay $2,500 in restitution. West Fargo police are asking for your help figuring out who shot out the windows of a tattoo shop. It happened at Shades of Grey Tattoo. It was discovered Saturday morning around 11 a.m. No one was inside at the time and no one was injured. If you know anything about this incident, call West Fargo Police. A driver is facing a citation after a rollover crash in Moorhead. Police say 3 vehicles were involved. One driver was heading southbound on 30th Street when he or she failed to yield and hit a car headed eastbound on Highway 10, causing it to flip. 2 people were taken to the hospital. A snowmobile accident landed a 70-year-old man in the hospital on Saturday. The Hubbard County Sheriff's Office says it happened just before 5 p.m. in the Paul Bunyan State Forest. The Sheriff's Office says William Shapaniak was riding his snowmobile on Steamboat Forest Road when he lost control and went down a steep ditch and hit a tree. First responders found him down a hill after being thrown from the snowmobile. He was airlifted to a hospital in St. Cloud. North Dakota lawmakers are considering a bill addressing catalytic converter thefts. They've become a hot item for thieves because they can contain precious metals that bring thousands of dollars per ounce. Thieves find it easy to quickly cut the devices from a car's underside. The bill in the legislature would restrict the sale and purchase of catalytic converters. The number of lives lost from COVID-19 will reach 500,000 today, with the real total likely higher. That's roughly 1 in 670 Americans. 300,000 people died in the U.S. in the first 10 months of the pandemic. Nearly 200,000 more have died since mid-December. There's been a lot of confusion surrounding where and when people can get vaccinated, but many Minnesotans don't want to wait, and they're turning to social media to find help getting a vaccine now. Mara Caldwell was inspired after a friend tipped her off to available vaccine appointments at a children's hospital. She created the Minnesota Vaccine Hunters Facebook page as a place to share where to find available vaccine appointments. It started out as just a few of her friends, but in 3 weeks, it's now jumped to more than 10,000 members. Nurses have volunteered to moderate the page and answer questions to help combat misinformation. Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar says misinformation circulating about the virus and the vaccine is only making things worse. She joined a doctor from Allina Health to address what the World Health Organization is now calling an infodemic.
Right now, a lot of people still can't get the vaccine, but there's people who do qualify for it now who are deciding not to get it. And so it not only is bad for all of us when that happens, but it also makes it less efficient, because then maybe they'll decide a few months later they want it. And it's just not the right way to do this.
Last month, Senator Klobuchar sent letters to social media companies urging them to take more action on stopping the spread of misinformation on their platforms. COVID-19 vaccines have been modified to address the emerging variants. They don't need to undergo lengthy clinical trials. That's according to new guidance from the FDA. So far, there are 2 authorized coronavirus vaccines in the country. Both drug makers have previously said they do plan to modify their shots to target the variants. Here's an easy way for you to stay on top of the latest COVID vaccine-related information. Just use our VNL vaccine tracker. Simply visit our website or open your phone's camera and point it at the QR code on your screen, then tap the link that pops up. A Grand Forks police canine is getting some extra treats and belly rubs after tracking down a shoplifter over the weekend. Officers responded to a shoplifting complaint at Shields around 8 on Saturday night. Police say the shoplifters took off before they arrived. They found one of them, but the other ran to a nearby apartment complex parking lot. Police then called in Canine Shelby to help them out. She found the second suspect about 2 blocks away, hiding under a car. An NDSU fraternity is posted up outside of the Loaf and Jug for the next 5 days to raise money for a good cause. They'll be out in the cold for 120 hours to raise money for the Fargo-Moorhead charity Down Home. This charity helps furnish homes for people who are just emerging from poverty. Their goal this year is $15,000.
Last year we got about 23,000 if I'm right, but we already have 1,600 on crowd change, so I think we can definitely go way higher.
If you want to help out the cause, fraternity members will be outside of Loaf and Jug collecting funds until midnight on Friday. Valley News team is teaming up with Make-A-Wish for their Miles for Smiles drive this Thursday. All week we'll be introducing you to amazing local Wish kids you can help take flight by donating your unused United or Delta airline miles. Tonight on Valley News Live at 9 and 10 we'll meet Reese, a 13-year-old whose wish to go surfing in Australia came true. And we have your ticket to the Bison game this weekend, and you don't even have to leave your couch. The Bison will take on Southern Illinois on Sunday. Many of you have asked about our broadcast plans. Here they are. The pregame show starts at 11:30. That'll take you all the way up to kickoff at noon. You can catch all the action on KVLY. Well, coming up, the Minnesota man behind MyPillow is the latest target of a $1 billion lawsuit. We'll explain when Valley News Live at 4 continues.
We have, believe it or not, received some complaints about the warm-up across the valley. Valley News Live's own Summer Schnellbach capturing this guy here, who by the end of the weekend was not feeling too well with this big warm-up. Changes on the way. We have snow in the forecast. In fact, it's a first alert weather day. Your hour by hour details next.